Welcome to the Family Photography Marketing Podcast, where we dive into the world of marketing and help you take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Fiona, a marketing expert with 10 years of experience in the family photography industry, and in each episode of this podcast, I'll be sharing my insights and strategies for successful marketing to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital and traditional marketing techniques. So whether you're just starting out or looking to fine-tune your marketing approach, this podcast has something for you. So join me and let's get started. Hello everyone. Today's episode is going to be a little bit of a pep talk because I feel like it is rough out there. I'm noticing a lot of people feeling frustrated and scared and worried and overwhelmed and all the things. So I was listening to another podcast that's actually just about regular startups, which is always nice for me to listen to because sometimes I feel like photography businesses aren't really run like businesses. They're run like Instagram influencer competitions. And I mean that in a way that like I have definitely been there myself, where like a year ago, I was realizing that when I thought about my business, I thought about my business as an Instagram account, which some of you may resonate with, where it's like what the visibility that your business has, if it's mostly happening on that app, and you're very wrapped up in the analytics of that app and your reception and what other people are doing in comparison, it almost feels like you're a photographer, but you're like a influencer on Instagram more than anything. And the people that you're influencing aren't even really potential clients. The conversations and interactions and views that you're mostly getting are from other photographers. So this was kind of like very eye-opening to me, where I was like, I've kind of jumped off the track here a little bit and stopped operating like a business. Like other people out there have businesses, and they're functioning businesses that they have to work really hard to build. And I think the ease of visibility before now, it was possible to be like, okay, I'm coming onto the market in a time in history when people have extra money. And they're also like, there's all these psychological things that happen that affect just the broad consumer behavior. But sort of this idea of back then, Instagram itself was much more social, which I've talked about before, which did hurt our industry more than anyone is really talking about, that the families themselves are much less likely to share their own photography because social media, just as it has become much less social for us, it's much less social. Wow, really struggling with the word much less social for them as well. So anyway, on this podcast, I heard this phrase that said, the phrase was its own entity, and it said, focusing on the dream behind the dilemma is a trap, because you see the dream and in front of you is the dilemma to getting to the dream. So we just hyper focus on the dilemma. So in this case, the dream is a booked out photography business and the dilemma is visibility. And so we kind of forget about focusing on the dream, like what we're actually trying to do here. If you are a working family photographer who needs income, that's what I'm talking to in this scenario. You are wanting that, but in front of you is this huge cloud of confusion and overwhelm and fear, and that's the dilemma, aka the visibility. So the pep talk is to swing your focus back to the dream, back to what it feels like to have a creative career where you control your schedule, what it feels like to financially contribute to your family, what it feels like to have systems and processes that work really well. And when I do that, like for example, I just had a newborn session book and they found me on Google because for some reason with the new change, and actually Google Analytics, just apparently a bunch of information about Google Analytics was leaked. So if you're person who likes to look into a leak, even though I'm sure it's way too confusing for me to even understand. If you're someone who's interested in that, basically it was domain authority is so huge and backlinks. And I happen to have a ton of backlinks and I have a ton of authority because I have been in business for 13 years. So I think that's really why my website jumped up. So anyway, these people came, like I was thinking about the dream for both of us. Like we both have a dream that is involved in my art and their want of my art, right? So found me on Google. She reached out. She said, "We love your work. We want to book with you." Or no, she booked with me. That was it. She booked with me and then she reached out. And she's like, "Hey, I just have a clarifying question." And I was like, "Cool." And then I sent her all my styling stuff and she's like, "I'm so excited. I can't wait." And then I was just like, oh my gosh, that's the focus. That experience, my anticipation of the session, my work that I put into visibility and systems that brought her into my brand, me treating her very well with a good client experience, assuming I'll bring all of my abilities to the session will go off without a hitch, or maybe a hitch or two, because that's okay, we can handle it. The gallery will be delivered, the client will be delighted. Like, what a beautiful thing. But when you're in your day-to-day, instead, we're just focused on the dilemma. So to switch the focus back to the dream, then I would say close the freaking app and write down some goals. When you open the app back up, post for clients. Ignore. Like, what if you just gave yourself a season of ignoring the poo out of every other photographer? Not in a friendly way. You're not like becoming like locked in a castle, like tangled, and your photographer friend just climb up your hair to be able to talk to you. I'm just saying, what if you did not spend any time scrolling, consuming, or comparing other photographers' work? Because I don't think that for the vast majority of photographers, that behavior is expanding their own dream. I think it's expanding their dilemma instead. Okay? The last, I don't even know, I didn't even count. Whatever one, the last one, the finale. Stop chasing and start attracting. Like, if you could get your mindset into this place of, I have a dream, I'm an artist, I have systems and processes to support clients coming into this dream scenario, which is that I'm a photographer who's extremely passionate about creating this art. You are a client who wants this art. Let us hold hands and skip down the road together. If we're just focusing on that and nothing else, I feel like so many of the marketing pieces will fall into place. Because you won't be thinking about how you're not good enough, how that person went viral, how this person has those locations, should you switch up your styling, what about your editing? All of these things are such dilemma clouds that we put inside of our brains when we could just clear them out. Because so many of us, you already know what you want. You know what it looks like. Maybe it looks like 4 to 6 sessions a month at sunset. Okay, I'm describing myself. At sunset with happy, friendly, adventurous, fun families. Done. Like, that's the focus, not anything that's happening on Instagram with other people. So if you are where I was a year ago, where when you think about your business, like, it's like Instagram, this is like annoying little brother who's like, I'm also in the photo. You're like, no, this is a headshot. And Instagram's like, no, I am also your business. It's not your business. Your business is your business. Instagram is a tool of visibility. We can make it a tool of visibility, or we can make it a dilemma. So that was very clarifying for me. So just a little bit of a pep talk, and also an acknowledgement of this. This will be and I've already seen it, especially on Threads. When Threads first came out, I didn't really like Threads because I never liked Twitter. I never even joined Twitter. Although actually that's a lie. I joined Twitter for a couple of months with this account called like Ellen Bryn Say. And it was hilarious things that my then like 2 and 3 year old would say, which I'm really glad I did, because I wouldn't have probably documented a lot of the ridiculous things that they said. But beyond that, I never did Twitter, but I kind of like Threads. It gives me a really good insight. It's like people's just thoughts, thoughts, no images, just plain thoughts. So I've seen this already. Photographers are quitting, they're getting day jobs, they're going back to the workforce. Number one, there's nothing wrong with that. If you realize that that your dream is not big enough to overcome the visibility dilemma and you don't want to deal, there's nothing wrong with being like, I have to go get a job. I understand. Like I said, I get sensitive about all these people that don't have to have income. My family needs my income. If for some reason my visibility dilemma got so huge and I couldn't overcome it and I needed the money, that's what you have to do. So I get it. I'm seeing it a lot more. So the honest truth is that two things. This will be a make or break year for a lot of photographers. And the thing that breaks people will be not wanting to put in the work to get the visibility. That's the bottom line. It's no longer as simple as it used to be. And I did a little thread about this that went kind of crazy over there, but I was just like, any photographer educator who's talking about business and booking who is not acknowledging that this year is different, I feel like is either unaware because they're not actually relying on income at all. Because even the most established photographers that I know, I'm talking 20-year veterans, are having a decrease in bookings, or they're just trying to not talk about it and continue to be like, no, literally all you have to do is talk in your stories. It's like, Barbara, the times have changed. So this is my little pep talk, is that A, you're not alone. B, your dilemma is a dilemma, but you can also focus on your dream. And I think a lot of us need to snuggle up with our dream a little bit and remember why we're doing this. And when it goes off well, like when I have a month where I have 4 to 6 sunset sessions with a happy, adventurous family, that is the dream. That is the dream that 24-year-old me couldn't wait to do, couldn't wait to live. And so flick the Instagram little brother off your shoulder and use Instagram as a tool to attain your dream, not as a dilemma cloud that makes you unable to see your dream because you're so fogged over with comparison, fear, judgment, all the crappy things that happen when we're on that app as consumers of other people's photography. So try it. Try ignoring all the other photographers just for a little bit. If their work doesn't cause you any, if their work, it doesn't, you'll know the honest truth about this. There's photographers that I follow, their work is not anything that the sessions that they do, I have no interest in doing. If I'm in a insecure moment, they don't cause any issue with me because I'm not like, oh, I wish, oh, I should, oh, I could, oh, what if? So if you have those could, should, what if people, just ignore them. Give your brain a gift of 2 weeks of not even thinking about other photographers, because it's like going back to this idea of startups. Are they looking at what other startups are doing? Possibly, but the dream is still the focus, their personal dream. An electrician in town who wants to be a full-time electrician isn't on Instagram seeing the ins and outs and pipe workings of every freaking electrician in a 10-mile radius every single day, 5 times a day, every time they open an app. And if they were, they might be like, oh my gosh, his weld, I know nothing about electrician. I don't even think they do welding. His wiring is so pristine, I should just quit. So that's the focus. Swing the focus back to the dream. Get over the dilemma of visibility, and then listen to last week's episode for a little 6 traps that you may be in when it comes to that visibility dilemma. You're going to actually have to do work. And this group of mastermind people right now, they're doing so, they are implementing so many amazing things. It's so encouraging to watch. And they're already getting bookings, things are changing. There's definitely hope there. So many of us have been so much more quiet than we even realize because we're scared. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to take a little break. I don't know how long, not too long, but just enough for me to get the next whatever I'm offering on my education side going. What's still going on for me on the education side is the website course. And then a very rare thing for me, which I'm doing a course in the Milky Way family retreat, and it's about how to turn ordinary locations into amazing locations. I shot 2 separate sessions. One's like behind an Ace Hardware in my town, and the other one's behind another hardware store in another town. And then there's behind the scenes editing from me, which is like, if you want to see the most simple editing ever that still looks good, that would be what you want to watch. I think it's on sale through the 31st. So I'll put the link in the show notes. Snag it if you want to see me being actually so annoying. It's been a while since I've had a video of myself photographing, but the octaves of my baby voice might just blow your eardrums right out. So if you want that experience, definitely tune in.